Previously on the Radio Vagabond.
I am here in the car in Houston with my good old friend Doug, and we were talking how long time has been since I've seen you?
Well, I think I do remember, purely in the interest of camaraderie and economics, we ended up sharing a hotel room in London. And so I remember that. But then our paths crossed in Mumbai, which was a fascinating place. And what an amazing situation that was. So we've certainly been in some adventurous places together, not the least of which is my hometown, the fourth largest city in the United States and the first word spoken from the moon.
Coming up later in this episode.
I'm a rocker, okay? I was raised in the 60s and 70s. I had a band in my garage. The bass player was a guy named Dennis Quaid, you probably know. Played in my band.
The Dennis Quaid?
T-H-E Dennis Quaid, who now has a great band called Dennis Quaid and the Sharks. So in addition to making...
It's all because of what happened in your basement.
You know, that would be a pretty bit generous exaggeration. But no, it was my garage, not a basement.
If travel is your passion, and you want escapism while still upholding your work and family responsibilities, you can travel vicariously from the comfort of your own home. This is the Radio Vagabond Podcast.
Hi, and welcome back to the second half of my day with Doc Harris, a proud Houstonian who's taken me around his city. My name is Palabo. Welcome to episode 197 of the Radio Vagabond, supported in part by Hotels25.com. It's a website that helps you find the best prices on hotels and guest houses and hostels all over the world. It does that in one simple search. It searches Booking.com, Hotels.com, Kayak, Expedia, and many, many more. Hotels25.com. It works. Try it out.
So, Polly, what we're coming up on here is Lakewood Church, which is the home of Pastors Joel and Victoria Osteen, his wife. And this is it right here. It's an enormous place. And it used to be called the Compact Center, and before that it used to be called Summit. The Summit is where the Houston Rockets used to play. So this is a 17,000-seat venue that has become the world headquarters for...
Okay, wait. 17,000?
Yes.
In a church?
Yes, and they have several services on Sunday, including at least one in Spanish, I believe, because of the community here. And Joel has an international ministry, and he, has been pretty much a respected sort of clergyman for many years. Bit of controversy last year, but he has hundreds of thousands of followers around the world. He has his own channel on Sirius XM. And
so, what kind of religion is it?
It's sort of non-denominational. It's really sort of the religion of prosperity and goodwill and things of that nature. So
is it?
It's Christian.
Is Christian, but is he one of those evangelists that is making it a big business and?
See, that would be a very unfair generalization. Let's just say that he has a great following. He has people that believe in his mission and his message. He does lead a fairly lavish lifestyle, but when you hear the message, you don't hear that dramatic sort of appeal to send money today kind of a thing. It's not really that kind of appeal. He writes books.
Seeds.
It's not quite like that. I'm not. This is not the right forum for that. People that want to find out about Joel Osteen need to look up Joel Osteen. But as a curiosity of my hometown, there's a 17,000-seat church, okay? And it's where I saw ZZ Top, and Heart and Aerosmith play. And now, it is a source
preaching the word of the Lord,
a home of faith and spirituality. So that's a bit of an oddity. You see that building right there, Polly?
Yeah.
There are 11 radio stations in that building right there. Yeah. So they have a Radio 1 is in that building, and also CBS, which is now Intercom, is in that building, and then iHeartMedia has their headquarters over here a few blocks, and Cox Media has their headquarters. So
this is the radio district.
It's let's say the broadcast district, because we also have Univision over here. So I bet there must be 25 radio signals headquartered, at least their operations, not their towers. Their towers are in cow pastures somewhere but their headquarters and broadcast centers are right here. So kind of an interesting circumstance. That is that's the Williams Tower. Used to be the Transco Tower. It is the largest, highest building outside of a metro area in the United States. It's 62 or 64 floors. You see that big thing in the middle of the prairie. It's a very interesting piece because it sits on sort of almost like a little park area. So I think a very wise group of people decided, let's build up instead of out, and so you have a lovely little area to get your wedding photos made and walk your dog on a Sunday, and in the middle of this 62 or 64 stories. As you can see, it's quite a place.
Lakewood Church and Joel Osteen is on all social media platforms. There's an app, a podcast, and a very slick website where they also do live streams and a web shop with books from Joel and his wife Victoria Osteen and his mother Dodie Osteen. The church was founded by his father, Pastor John Osteen, and Joel was in the background as a TV producer up until his father passed away. When that happened, he stepped up and assumed the role of senior pastor at Lakewood Church. I went to their website and saw a video of a sermon a few weeks ago. It's what you hear in the background here. It does not look like a regular church. Like Doug told me, it's an arena with 17,000 people. The sermon starts with a band on stage with lights and a cheering audience. The TV production itself is also very professional. It's like watching X Factor or a big award show with several camera angles. Then Joel and his wife takes the stage.
Hey, God bless you today. Welcome to Lakewood. How many of you are ready to worship the Lord this morning? God's been good to us all, and we just are so glad that you came out today. I know you could be doing many different things, but you said, I'm going to go to the house of the Lord. So many of you
17,000 people in a church/arena, and I don't know how many listeners on Sirius XM satellite radio in North America, and a global audience watching the live stream.
God wants to do something unusual in your life. So let's be believers. Let's be not doubters. Sure, there's things, I like to look at it like this. We may have big obstacles, but we serve a big God.
Definitely very different from what I grew up with in Denmark, where there could just be a handful of people in my local church on a normal Sunday.
That's good. Yes, we're glad to have you today. Our God is a faithful God, and He has promises.
Oh, you can smell it already.
Doug is taking me to one of his favorite places for lunch, Charlie's BBQ, where I can get to taste some real Texas barbecue.
How are you?
I have a guest, but he's gonna.
Hi.
Doug is a regular here, and he introduces me to some of the staff, making me feel welcome and special.
We had a great laugh about this. He and I worked in radio together in Denmark 15, 20 years ago.
Oh.
He has gone on the sort of adventure you and I would love. He just sold everything, and he's traveling the world.
Oh my
And
gosh,
doing
that sounds like a dream.
travel journalist. And so he's just spending a few days with me. And so
this is the right spot.
I'm going to get
for
him some
Texas
chow,
barbecue.
and then we'll come visit. And
We're at the grill, and the guy behind it, Foti, is giving me recommendations.
The brisket for sure. The brisket's always the most popular, and then the sausage is second popular. And then you've got the ribs. We got pork spare ribs, St. Louis style ribs, and then we have the beef ribs too. But those are the staples. Brisket is a staple for Texas anyway. You go further east, it's going to be pulled pork.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah. But I would definitely get the brisket.
Okay, I trust you.
Have you ever wondered what the places in this podcast actually look like? I have. So, I started following the Radio Vagabond on Instagram, simply by searching Radio Vagabond.
After consuming a big plate of various tasty barbecue, I go back to the owner, Foti Demiris.
So, Foti, tell me a little bit about this place and why barbecue is so great in Texas.
Well, we've been in the barbecue business before my time. It's been almost 60 years. And we've been doing it for the second generation for 30 years. And it's just Texas. I mean, that's why we got in the barbecue business. We're Greek. My dad and my mom came from Greece. But when they got here, they saw that there's diners and stuff like that. But we got hooked up with the barbecue.
So is it inspired by the Greek kitchen as well?
No, not really. But we've added Greek salads, we've added gyro sandwiches, we've added some Mediterranean dishes to the menu.
Tzatziki?
Tzatziki, yes, I have fresh tzatziki we make ourselves.
That's good. That's
Yeah.
good. Thank you so much. It was delicious, and I really enjoyed being
Glad you're here.
And if people are interested in and are in Houston, I will put the name and the address in the Radio Vagabond blog, so people can find me.
The restaurant is called Charlie's Barbecue, and it's on Bissonnet Street in Bel Air. Find it on charliesbbq.com. Link in the notes for this episode. After lunch, we go back in the car, and Doc will give me an interesting history lesson of Houston and Texas. You don't want to miss that. We'll be right back.
Hello, Radio Vagabond listeners.
Hey, we are big Palebo fans. Ideally, we're all on our journey, just like Polly, to a life we design. Whether you have kids or an empty nester, we invite you to check out our podcast, The Open Nesters.
Our unique podcast explores personal, intellectual, physical, sexual, and spiritual journeys of life as we reinvent ourselves at this stage of life we call Act 3. Palebo is an inspiring traveling nomad as this open nester, and you can hear him as we interview him on episode 10.
And if you like to hear from others who are writing Act 3 of their lives, please join us every week for a new episode, which is available on every podcast platform and on theopennesters.com. I'm Amir.
And I'm Tessa, and we'd love to have you with us on the journey. We feel certain it will also become yours. Visit theopennesters.com.
Doc, we had some barbecue, and that was great.
Yes, it's part of the of being in the here in Texas. You got to have good proper barbecue, which is beef barbecue, beef ribs, pork ribs, all that. A lot of great barbecue in the U.S., but there's nothing like Texas barbecue. So we're here in Houston, which is named after Sam Houston, the first president of Texas, also the general of the Texas Army.
Because Texas used to be a country.
Well, a republic, but yes, it was its own country, a republic, and it was under the dominance of the country of Mexico, and it seceded, so to speak, left Mexico, declared its independence, and the Mexicans promptly sent an enormous army to Texas to whip everybody into shape, led by Generalissimo Santa Anna. It's a much longer name. So Santa Anna was an accomplished military tactician, but didn't really take the Texans, or as they were called at the time, the Texicans, seriously. So the leader of the Texas Army, Colonel William Barrett Travis, put a call out, and volunteers came from all over the country, as far as Tennessee, including a United States congressman named Davy Crockett, and he came to Texas with his Tennessee volunteers, and they all holed up at the mission of the Alamo in San Antonio, Texas, and they just took a stand, and for I think it was 13 days, they fought off or held off the Mexican army of tens of thousands of uniformed soldiers and marksmen and cavalry people with enormous cannons, and on the 13th day the Alamo fell. They got a bunch of Doug Harris.
While Doug is on the phone, I love his rock and roll ringtone, by the way. Let me just add that the story with David Crockett and the Alamo is something that I'll dive more into when I visit San Antonio in a couple of weeks. It's fascinating. Oh, he's back.
Well, the critical purpose, the real benefit of the Battle of the Alamo was that it gave Sam Houston time to muster and train his troops down closer to what is now the city of Houston, but down by the Gulf of Mexico. And so while Santa Anna and his army were taking a siesta in the middle of the afternoon, having conquered...
As they do,
and so do many Europeans as well. They were taking a siesta in the middle of the afternoon. General Sam Houston and his troops just rode down upon them and took the whole camp by surprise, and I don't think a shot was even fired. They have to check the history books on this, but basically they took the army by surprise and took them all captive as prisoners, and it was over in a matter of minutes.
Sam Houston's your hero.
Sam Houston is the hero, and he was the hero of the Texas independence battle. The Battle of San Jacinto is what took place. But there's two interesting things here. Santa Anna took off his general's uniform and stood among the ranks as a soldier so as not to be detected. And one of the soldiers saw him and addressed him as Generalissimo, and that blew his cover. So that's how they found him. There is also sort of a rumor, lore, fable, whatever, that there was a young woman who was sort of sent to keep the Generalissimo company. Yeah. And she was a woman of mixed heritage. And she was sort of in his company at the time, the rumor says, the fable tells. And she had a skin that was much sort of an amber or yellow color. And she was called the Yellow Rose of Texas. And that is where the tale, the Yellow Rose of Texas, comes from. And this young lady who was there, I'm sure, just to sort of to provide comfort, entertainment, whatever you want to call it, for the Generalissimo, was sort of credited with this, giving a contribution to the Texas Revolution at the same time. And there are many, many songs about the Yellow Rose of Texas or the San Antonio Rose and things like that. I was not there. Nobody that's alive today was there, but it's been passed down through the generations, and there's a great song about it, and there you have it. So that's why when the Allen brothers founded Houston, they wanted to come up with a name for it. They named it after the hero of the Texas Revolution, Sam Houston, and as a result, they thought people would be drawn to it. Now, there's a real long story that I'm sure everybody should look up on the interweb and confirm that I know what I'm talking about.
And speaking of music, Doug is the kind of person who always goes around with music in his head. I never noticed it before this visit, but as we're leaving his office, he was humming. In the elevator, he was singing. And walking out to his car, he broke out in yet another tune. And he doesn't seem to mind that there are people around him. He's not shy. Kept singing when we met other people in the freight elevator. Great acoustics in there, by the way. And just added a "how you doing?" in between the verse and the chorus. He's just spreading joy and smiles around him all the time.
Hey, you know where we are now?
No.
We're at Sam Houston Race Park.
Oh.
Okay, so he goes from being the hero of the Revolution to being having a horse track named after him. But it's a handsome horse track, as you can see. Very handsome. This is the clubhouse over here. Look, valet parking. Very nice. And then they run horse races here throughout the season. They also have an enormous paddock area, which they do live concerts. A lot of country acts and classic rock acts come here. You can come here during the day. You see many people here during the day, and they're watching the races from around the country and around the world and enjoying an adult beverage and betting on the ponies, as they say. Handsome track and a big tourist attraction. Another thing that Big Ed should have told you about. Big Ed should have said, "Hey, Pally, we got to take you over here to the horse track and let's just see the handsome beast run around the track."
Yeah, but we only started talking about it last night just before I was leaving. So yeah.
So you see where these lights are? That's where they do the concerts. A big open area. Yeah. They bring out the staging, and it's quite an affair.
Who's played here of big name?
I think Keith Urban played here at one time. They had. I'm having a senior moment and having trouble remembering that. But yeah, some big name country acts here, and a lot of the classic rocks that are making their way back into prominence. And it's just endless. And you go out there and a place to walk around and all the comforts of home, air conditioning and cold beer.
You don't strike me as a country and western guy. You're more like a classic rock.
Well, that's a rather harsh indictment. Let me see if I can dance around my response. I'm a rocker, okay? I was raised in the 60s and 70s. I had a band in my garage. The bass player was a guy named Dennis Quaid. You probably know. Played in my band.
The Dennis Quaid?
T-H-E Dennis Quaid, who now has a great band called Dennis Quaid and the Sharks. So in addition to making...
It's all because of what happened in your basement.
That would be a pretty generous exaggeration. But no, it was my garage, not a basement. Okay. But he has real talent. And, he played Jerry Lee Lewis and learned how to play the piano. And he's a very talented musician and a very, very good, decent fellow. But I digress. So I'm a rocker, right? I was raised on the Beatles and Jimi Hendrix and Blind Faith and Clapton and the Byrds and the Yardbirds and all those guys. So I'm a rocker at heart. Plus, I made my bones in rock radio. At the same time, be kind of a dummy not to find a George Michael song every once in a while you like, or a Frank Sinatra song you like. How can you completely walk away from Lady Gaga and Adele and people like that? And in the country world, there's some pretty amazing performers. The classics, Bob Wills, and of course Jerry Jeff Walker and Willie Nelson. Those are all country artists.
I know Willie Nelson, but the rest of the people you named, all new to me.
Well, that'll be on the test when you leave Texas. Waylon Jennings and people like that. Yeah. So, look there. There's a gun shop, Guns of Texas, firearms, ammo, and accessories. Right there, you see it. Anyway, I like all types of music because I'm a student of human nature. Not a big rap music fan, but certainly find a bit of a R&B that. Not really my preference. But if I can sing it on the radio, right? Let's see what's on the radio here right now. Hold on.
To buy one of your listings.
That's a commercial. We don't want to hear that. Put that up. But if I can sing along to it, there's
I can do most of the Rapper's Delight.
All right. Well, see, that's prehistoric rap. That's like at the very beginning. A hip hop. The hip,
to the hip, the hip, the hop, the
bang bang, the bang bang boogie.
Okay. Up jump the boogie to the rhythm of the boogie beat.
I'm gonna screw it up.
Now, what you hear is not a test.
Hey, is this my interview or yours?
Okay.
All right. So, it's your own radio show. So anyway, it's. I try to listen to everything with an open mind, but a lot of the R&B and hip hop I have a bit of a problem with. I just can't quite get the rhythm of it down. But when I sing along on the radio, I sing along to classic rock. Love Tracy Chapman.
Earth, Wind, and Fire.
Earth, Wind. Dun, 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 dun. Yeah, because I can imitate the horns,
Okay.
Like Joe Cocker did with his fingers with the guitar.
Yeah.
I do that with my lips and fingers and the deal. So country music is wonderful. Welcome to Texas. Classic rock still lives here. The occasional ballad, a little bit of Sinatra. I was listening to this some YouTube video last night of this group of young ladies playing an Imagine Dragons song on acoustic guitar. It's just so much. I cannot imagine my life without music. I cannot imagine your life without music. It's got so much.
I've noticed that you're singing all the time.
Yeah. You need that, man. I think man has a primal need to sing and dance. And you don't even have to be good at it, right? As long as you just, let, what's that old expression? Dance like nobody's watching.
Yeah. But when did you stop having the band in the garage and?
Well, I really had no talent.
Yeah,
okay. So I love
It sounds like my story as well.
Dennis had real natural talent, and he went on quickly and became an actor, but always was true to his music and all. I had no talent. One of my band members, a guy named Jim Holden, he still plays guitar today and does pickup bands and things like that, and occasional thing. I just sing in the shower. And
in the elevator with me.
The freight elevator, man. I sound great. I sound like a Grammy winner in the freight elevator, baby. Listen, you just got to let it go. And, my wife, Fancy Nancy, she puts up with it, you got to let it loose. And I screw up the words. The one I really have trouble with is when I'm singing the Elton John, Tiny Dancer. I always have to put in Hold Me Closer, Tony Danza, that American actor. You don't know what that is, do you?
Yeah.
Hold me closer, Tony Danza. Anyway, it's better when you screw up the words. Okay, here we are at this fabulous hotel I've been telling you about.
Yeah, we're here at the hotel. It's a Hilton hotel, but it's called Homewood Suites, and this is where I'm going to be staying tonight. Looks great.
It's a bizarre place. It's really sort of a reasonably family-oriented or business traveler hotel. But look at the pool. Look at that. Look, that's the. They could have just put some dolphins up here. Instead, they brought in a local artist to do that. I can't wait for you to get inside. I saw this place a couple of months ago, and when I knew you were coming, I said, man, we got to get you there. You got to see this place. Great nice to sit. So stand by for a further report on the Homewood Suites in North Houston on Fallbrook and the episode 65 in Polly's Great Adventure.
Well, sorry, Doug. It's not episode 65. This is episode 197 of the Radio Vagabond. But Doug being Doug, he doesn't seem to mind and just breaks out into another song as he's calling a client.
This
is Nicole.
Hello, Nicole. It's Doug Harris of Noisemaker Communications. How are you?
Doug, I'm great. Super happy it's Friday. How are you?
Doug found a hotel for me. and was able to strike a deal with them for a better rate. It's a Homewood Suite by Hilton, and it's very artistic with a big mural on the wall behind the pool and a lot of art in the lobby. I meet Bruce from the hotel and ask him to tell me more about the place. It's in a part of the city that's more a corporate area with a lot of big companies, and to me it's not the obvious location for a hotel.
Well, it is and it isn't. There was a need for a Hilton product in this part of town that wasn't met, and it's been proven in what we've seen business-wise in the short period of time that we've been open.
Yeah, because this is more like a business area, a lot of big companies here.
Yes. We're definitely more of a corporate-focused hotel here. Yeah. But yet our owners tried to instill more of a boutique flavor to the hotel through the artwork that they've installed.
Yeah, now we're in the lobby, and it's a beautiful lobby, and I see some art on the walls here.
All of the art that you see on the walls is done by Mr. D of Houston. He also did our exterior murals. He's known as Houston's largest muralist as well. Max Studios did the woodwork that you see in the lobby, including the 3D wall behind the front desk and the panels on either side of the fireplace as well.
So how big is the hotel? It's not huge.
No, 125 rooms. Yeah. We also have an outdoor kitchen for our guests, as well as a fire pit, which probably won't see any use for another month in Houston. But you see the second mural that Mr. D did for us. It's a pixelated version of a hibiscus bloom, or half a hibiscus bloom, and he designed it specifically for selfies.
Yeah. So even though it's pixelated, I'll take a photo of this because it's just so beautiful. It is hand painted.
Yes. Behind the wall is a putting green.
Oh, really?
Yes. For guest downtime and relaxation.
Yeah. So when the business people come here before a meeting the next morning, they can jump in the pool or go and do some putting.
Sure.
Practice their putting.
Yes.
Oh, very nice. Very nice. Even a small kitchen. Wow.
Yes, it is an all-suites hotel, so every room, this is our standard guest room. I wanted you to have a real representation. I started to put you in one of our larger suites, but then I thought, I really want you to have a true representation of the hotel. Yeah. This is our standard room, but as you can see, it's almost 3 times the size of a regular hotel.
Absolutely, yeah. I've stayed in some tiny places. I remember the one I stayed in Hong Kong was so tiny that I had to walk sideways beside the bed. It was so small.
I stayed at a hotel in Paris one time where you had to crawl over the end of the bed to get into the bathroom.
Very nice, yeah. Doug, I'm canceling everything. I'm just staying here. So.
I got to hang out some more with Doug the next day. We went to an art gallery opening, and I followed his recommendation to visit the National Funeral Museum, where I got to learn about caskets, coffins, and hearses through history, plus the funerals of presidents, popes, and celebrities. They also have a gift shop selling caps, mugs, t-shirts, and magnets saying something like, "A day above ground is a good one." A really weird and kind of morbid place, but interesting. I'm so glad I got to spend some time with my old friend Doug, and can't wait to see him again soon, somewhere in the world, and maybe share a room again.
Purely in the interest of camaraderie and economics.
Exactly. That's it from Houston. Now I'm heading back to Osteen and returning the cool convertible to Gary. And then I'm heading a bit south of the city to a little town called Lockhart, where I'm house sitting. Well, actually, it's not even in Lockhart, but in a nice little house in the countryside.
Next week on the Radio Vagabond,
this is what it sounds like right here where I live in the outskirts of the small town of Lockhart. I am around 3-4 miles away from Lockhart, down a dirt road, and the neighbor is breeding cocks for cockfighting. Cockfighting is not illegal here in Texas, but it is in one of the other states. I don't remember which state it was that Charlie told me. But they breed them here, and then they put them on a truck and drive them up to go into an arena where they can pluck another cock to death. And you would think that this is only in the morning, but no. It's all day. It's all day. The neighbor doesn't seem to care. Both of them are deaf.
My name is Palabo, and I gotta keep moving. See ya.
Produced by RadioGuru.co.uk.